Welcome to Realtors Architecture 101. Concept to Construction of Real Estate, Part 2. This is an educational course developed by Arthur Nerbas to be used by professional realtors as reference material.
1. Health, safety and welfare. A realtor should acknowledge the professional importance of protecting the public's health, safety and welfare. Additionally, would benefit from knowing the basic architectural standards and basic building codes to maintain health, safety and welfare. B. Know your local building department for the subject property, usually known as the authority having jurisdiction, AHJ. C. Know where to find basic architectural standards and the applicable building codes. Realize that building codes are the bare minimum level of construction. Anything less is considered illegal and will impact warranties, insurance and loans. D. Know the applicable building codes of your subject property. Examples include IRC, IBC, Life Safety Code, and the ADA. E. Use the correct building and construction vocabulary. Note, each building type has specific terminology. F. Know the numbers, including math formulas, width and height dimensions, floor areas and standard measuring units. G. Use the correct tools, including measuring tapes or laser measuring pointers. Also note, current smartphones including 3D scanning apps that provide measuring tools.
2. Accessibility issues. A. Understand the difference between general building accessibility and the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, accessibility requirements. Accessibility is the minimum standard for public access into a building. ADA, 1990-2010, is a federal civil rights law mandating a minimum standard for all disabled public access. More importantly, it prohibits discrimination based on disability. B. Provide a 36-inch accessible path to every room around every obstruction. C. All interior doors and exit door must provide 32-inch minimum clearance, no less. D. Provide a clear 5-foot diameter circle, or T, for a wheelchair to turn around. E. Provide an accessible ramp of 1 in 12 slope, 8% max as needed. F. Provide a maximum threshold transition of a 1/2 inch with a 1/4 inch bevel at flooring changes. G. Note, when analyzing a building, the most restrictive code prevails and will govern. Additionally, existing and new building must proactively remove barriers to disabled access.
3. Occupancy, NFPA 101/Life Safety Code. A. The specific occupant use of a room within the building defines the occupant load of that room. Note, every room must be accounted for based on its specific use. Unfortunately, this calculation is the cause of many plan review delays. B. Ultimately, the predominant occupant use defines the occupancy classification of the building or tenant space. Note, a building can have multiple occupant uses, but only one predominant occupancy classification. Be careful to understand the difference between the use of a room and the classification of the building. C. Occupancy defines the minimum construction type. D. Occupancy defines maximum allowable height. E. Occupancy defines maximum allowable stories. F. Occupancy defines maximum allowable area. G. Occupancy defines the required separation. H. Occupancy defines exterior wall fire separation distance. I. Occupancy defines fire door and protection ratings. A. Occupancy use defines the occupant load. B. Predominant use defines the occupancy classification. C. Occupancy defines the minimum construction type. D. Occupancy defines maximum allowable height. E. Occupancy defines maximum allowable stories. F. Occupancy defines maximum allowable area. G. Occupancy defines the required separation. H. Occupancy defines exterior wall fire separation distance. I. Occupancy defines fire door and protection ratings.
3. Occupancy, NFPA 101/Life Safety Code. J. Occupancy defines corridor fire ratings. K. Occupancy defines window distance, protection, and area. L. Occupancy defines egress width per occupant. M. Occupancy defines number of exits per occupant load. O. Occupancy defines exit access travel distance. P. Occupancy defines maximum occupants for one exit. Q. Occupancy defines maximum stories with one exit. R. Occupancy defines minimum required plumbing fixtures.
Thank you for watching part 2 of this series. Please continue to part 3.